Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. And I just had the fun pleasure of watching Disney's retelling again of Rudyard Kipling's very famous and very well loved The Jungle Book. Now, this is actually the 2016 version. There have been multiple versions of The Jungle Book made before. The most famous being which is Disney's own original in 1967, which was loved by many, I myself included. I really did love The Jungle Book. It was a wonderful movie. And since then, it's been retold multiple times. But this version, is actually meant for the new generation. And to be honest with you, this is definitely my favorite version besides the original because this one, the original animated, it'll always have a place in my heart. And I really don't think you're ever going to replace that. But this one is just an amazing movie. I mean, not only is it a wonderful retelling or even reimagining in some cases, but it also brings this wonderful story by Kipling, which this writer was Kipling actually wrote this book uh, back in the 1890s, if I'm not mistaken. 1894 was the original time that he wrote this, and so this is actually an amazing story that's been retold and told so many times before. Now, I do want to say that if you've never seen this movie, definitely go watch it first because I'm definitely going to have some spoilers about this movie in this particular review. So, the first thing that I want to talk about this movie is the stellar cast that's in this movie. Okay, so um, let me start off with the one that was most memorable, which would be Idris Elba as Shere Khan. Man, he was just absolutely amazing in this role as Shere Khan. Other reviewers have said it before, but he was extremely menacing, very evil, but very, I guess you would say, very calculating and an extremely smart creature in this particular movie. So, and also a lot of it, he actually had motivation behind what he was doing. So, definitely great job by Idris Elba there. I really did love Bill Murray as Baloo. He he was so funny in this movie, and his character, his comedic side, just came out right away. And this is the Bill Murray that you would remember back in the day when he was just strictly a comedic actor. So great there. Ben Kingsley, wonderful as always. He is an award-winning actor and an Oscar-winning actor. And here, when he plays Bagheera, he's just that loving father type, but also at the same time very strict. Now, Scarlett Johansson's role as Ka, as the snake in this movie, she did not have a very long role in this movie, but she did a wonderful job in the time that she had. And the original animated, it was actually done by a male. Now the other actors and actresses, top notch. Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha, as basically Mowgli's wolf mother. Um, just stellar across the board. I can't say enough about all the actresses and actresses did this. I did a Christopher Walken. He didn't have a large role in this movie as King Louis, but the time he was there, you were definitely afraid of him. And Aquila. I did not know that this actor Giancarlo was actually played Aquila. Now Aquila wasn't in this movie long. He was supposed to be the wolf father in this movie and also the wolf pack leader. But as you see in the movie, he doesn't last that long. And honestly, for most of the movie, you really identify Ben Kingsley Bagheera as Mowgli's father. Okay, and the rest of the cast, supporting cast, wonderful job because their acting actually brought out the character side of these animated, basically animated caricatures because they're not really there at all. They're all CG characters. Now, the one actor that I definitely did not want to leave out, but I want to leave him at the end was Neil Sethi. Okay, now a lot of people have had these reviews to say where he is a good actor, but at sometimes he's not great, you know. But let's put this in perspective. This actor, this child actor, this is his very first movie, you know, and at the same time, he is the only live actor in this whole movie. The rest of the character in this movie, they're all computer generated characters. So for somebody who's a very first time actor to be doing such a convincing role, not only as an actor, but also as a child actor, it's just absolutely amazing to me. And another thing that I really want to point out with Neil Sethi here, he is he's basically helping push the actors and actresses that are actually has a different culture, ethnicity onto big motion pictures. And as anyone who knows that you've been paying attention to movies nowadays, you've been seeing a lot of more actors and actresses of different cultures and ethnicities in big Hollywood movies. And Neil Sethi, he is of Indian descent, but he was born in America. This is an Indian American, but it's no mistake that they put him in here. Not only did they want to follow closely to Rudyard Kipling's original and the Disney movie, but the biggest markets in outside of the U.S. is definitely China and India. And as a matter of fact, they're going to be larger than the U.S. So these studios were very cognizant of that. And this was pushed very heavily in the Indian market, mainly because of Neo Sethi and also the Indian actors and actresses who dubbed the movies there in India. So this is pretty big. And I didn't, I know I spent a lot of time there, but it is huge. So um, great job overall by the whole cast and crew of the Jungle Book, and it's already grossed over $100+ million in its opening weekend. So this is really good for other types of films like this going forward. And so that's the first plus that I had for this movie. I mean, I really love all the acting, very convincing. Now the second thing, which is which is to me, I never expected it to be that huge, is the CG uh, movie. This whole movie was done in computer graphics. This was, like I said before, besides Neil Sethi, everything in this movie was computer generated. This movie was actually set in India, but the whole movie was actually shot in a soundstage in Los Angeles. And that is hats off to John Favreau's directing and the whole incredible crew who made this movie. I mean, I would have to say this is probably the best CG effects I've ever seen in a movie, even beyond Avatar and even beyond Lord of the Rings. Because when I was watching this movie, it didn't take long at all for me to just be like in awe of this movie. I forgot about the special effects. And I've said this before in my other reviews, like even like for Deadpool, when you do a movie really well, when your CG effects are done extremely well, it completely forget about the special effects. And as you can see here by these quick clips, you could not tell me that this didn't look real. And if somebody were to tell me that this was shot in India, I would completely believe it. But all of this right here, this is all done in computer graphics. None of this was shot anywhere but outside of the actual studios in Los Angeles. Absolutely incredible. Very high marks. And once again, this combined with the amazing actors and actresses, you completely forgot that you were watching a CG generated movie. So, wonderful, wonderful there. And the last part of the movie that I really, really like was actually the story itself. And a lot of that goes back to Rudyard Kipling's original. Okay, this guy was also a Nobel Prize winner as well in 1907. So this author definitely knew what he was talking about. And he was actually born in India. And India at the time, it was a British providence as well. And so there's a lot of history behind that. Rudyard Kipling, obviously, he loved India, and there's a lot of that in this movie. Okay, in this part of the review, if you have not seen the movie, you definitely want to go see it first, because I'm gonna be talking a lot about plot points in the movie, which it's definitely gonna have some spoilers. Okay, so if you have not seen the movie, please go watch it. So last warning, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about plot points in the movie. So let me talk about going back to Idris Elba as as Shere Khan. Um, like I said, I love the way that Idris Elba really did Shere Khan. I mean, even the way this tiger looked, with his if you look right here, with his scars, and the damage that he has to his eye, um, he got all of this because Mowgli's father, when Mowgli was a young child, was actually killed by Shere Khan. And when you're listening to Idris Elba's voice in this movie, you can hear that deep anger, that pain that he feels, and that is a really deep reason for him to hate Mowgli more than any other human. He didn't realize that Mowgli was there when he killed his father, but he wants to complete and finish what he did. So, I mean, even before Mowgli or his father was around, Shere Khan was already a very evil character. And it was only because of the peace rock. That one center where everybody has a middle ground, that he didn't go around just killing everyone, all the other animals. Okay. um so that's one. And also another thing I like, but it was also kind of like, it's kind of weird, is King Louis, from the original 1967 animated one. He was more like a very playful, fun character. Okay. But in this retelling, he was more of a darker, menacing type character. He nearly killed Mowgli. So I do want to point that out. Okay, for a lot younger kids, there is a lot of darkness in this movie. Okay, there's some pretty brutal scenes, especially with Shere Khan. I mean, he actually bites into other animals and kills animals. And so, if your child's not ready for that, just want to give you a warning on that too. Um, Now, Ka, she really wasn't in the movie long, and so or Scarlett Johansson. But once again, it has a very a lot darker theme and tone than the original Ka, which was more of a funny version of a snake. So um, they really wanted to. I guess John Favreau really wanted to bring that out, that in the forest, in the jungles, it's a very dangerous place, especially if you're like a small human, where lots of these animals do not like humans. But one thing that I really loved about this movie was the interaction between Baloo and Mowgli. I always did like that fun interaction with them in the cartoon. And here in the live action, they do a wonderful job in capturing that, especially with Bill Murray's interaction with Neil Sethi in here in this movie. So they did a really good job. I mean, they're basically this this guy Baloo is just there to basically use Mowgli to get more honey, and it's so funny, especially when Bagheera first sees him with Mowgli, and Bagheera, he already knows what Baloo is all about, but Mowgli doesn't. And honestly, Mowgli doesn't care. But over time, in a very short period of time, Baloo grows to really, really love Mowgli. And the parts with King Louie, and especially with Shere Khan, the battle with Shere Khan at the end, you see how much that Baloo really loves Mowgli, versus just using him to get honey like he did originally. And Bagheera, you know, um, Bagheera, uh, what can I say about Bagheera? He is the father type, the protector, the teacher that you would always want when you were a kid, and also that you would want to be for your child. And so Ben Kingsley just encompasses all of that in this particular character. And I can't, speaking of a paternal type character, I I cannot you know, get this out. You really did believe that this is Mowgli's mother, and she cares so so much about him. And it must have been really hard for this scene originally, when Mowgli had to leave the wolf pack just to make sure that they're safe. And you know, let me get the character's name. Um, yeah, what's yeah, Raksha, Raksha. really shows how much that she loves Mowgli, and that just reminding him that Mowgli will always be her cub, and she's always his mother. So yeah, I just can't talk enough about the wonderful job the actors and actresses did with them, and those are like the key points that I really enjoyed, and not beating a dead horse, but the CG just really, really got you in this movie in such a way where you completely forgot that it was CG, and you didn't really care about the CG anymore. I love that about this movie. I just hope that if they ever do another sequel to this, live CG, I hope that they make the tone a little bit more, whimsical, a little bit more fun, like they did the original Jungle Book, because as it stands right now, wonderful retelling, but it is very, very dark. As you could probably tell, the Jungle Book 2016 is a wonderful, wonderful movie, not only as a family movie, but also for anybody who remembered the original. So there's a lot of nostalgia in there. And for all the people who are really into special effects, sci-fi stuff, you would not be disappointed in this movie. I mean, I think they probably spent thousands of hours studying the animals and environments and how they actually move in real life. And the people who did this, the technical people, the animators, everything, hats off to them, and hats off to John Favreau for making this happen, directing this in such a way where you were convinced of everything. Just a wonderful, wonderful movie. This is probably definitely one of my favorite movies of 2016 so far, and definitely one of my top favorite animated movies, whether it's live or a cartoon or CG generated. Definitely go watch this movie. I give it really, really high marks. So go check out the Jungle Book 2016. You would not be disappointed. You will have a wonderful time, and you'll probably be singing by the time you get out of it. So, thanks for watching this, and we'll see you on the very next episode. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.